Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. I am Ben Mankiewicz, host of TCM Classic Movies. Thanks for joining us as we celebrate the superlative career of one of the defining actors of her generation, Glenn Close. Now, he's been nominated for eight Academy Awards.
Yeah.
I know that awards are not in any way the best barometer of an artist. That said, there are only 9 actors in history with more Oscar nominations than Glenn Close. Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn, Denzel Washington and Al Pacino, Bette Davis and Laurence Olivier, Jack Nicholson and Paul Newman, Meryl Streep. When you talk about the best actors of a generation, Glenn Close will not be ignored, Dan. It would help if there were anyone here named Dan. All right, in the back. Thank you very much for coming. I did go a fairly long way for that, I admit, but it did allow me to discuss Glenn Close in a group of some of the greatest actors who have ever lived, which is where she belongs. She consistently and flawlessly brings her characters to life in ways that astonish us, ways that thrill us, ways that connect us. Chiefly, I think there is a dynamism in her eyes that grabs you, whether she's playing a Machiavellian marquise, the managing editor of a tabloid New York newspaper, the exasperated wife of a Nobel laureate, the vice president of the United States, or a certain vice president's feisty grandmother. Glenn began her career in the 1970s, working her way to 3 Tonys over the next few decades, most notably for playing one of the greatest characters ever written in any medium, Norma Desmond. Right, Glory? Glenn was Norma in Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical adaptation of Billy Wilder's Sunset Boulevard. Her mantle also holds 3 Emmys, 2 of those for playing Patty Hughes, the most complicated and engrossing lawyer, I believe, in the history of the screen, big or small. That came in the TV series Damages. I think everybody who hasn't seen Damages should seek it out and watch it immediately after leaving. Let's take a moment, though, to acknowledge her auspicious start on the big screen. I'm not sure any actor had a better 1980s than Glenn Close. First year, 3 consecutive Academy Award nominations for supporting performances, starting with her feature film debut in The World According to Garp, as a feminist icon, and as Robin Williams' mother. She followed it with her complex and emotionally layered performance in The Big Chill, and the next year she delivered a quietly vital performance, making one of the most indelible impressions you'll ever see on screen. And she did it just by standing up in the bleachers of a ballpark to inspire Robert Redford in The Nashville. Now I got to 1985. She wrapped up the decade with 2 of her best-known films, 2 of the most powerful, unforgettable, and to some controversial performances of the 20th century. She'll join us later today to discuss one of them in this theater. I'm going to try it. The Marquise de Merteuil in Dangerous Liaisons. The other is the one I referenced at the start of this tribute, Alex Forrest in Fatal Attraction, who ranks number 7 on the AFI list of the top movie villains. And Glenn, though, has repeatedly said that she never saw Alex as a villain, and it's clear she didn't play her that way. The honesty of Alex's vulnerability comes through in every frame, even when she's at her most threatened. Glenn Close does what great actors do. She makes you relate to the seemingly unrelatable, and she is arguably among the finest actors we've ever seen on screen. We're so excited to host this hand and footprint ceremony today. 2 of Glenn's great friends, associates are here to join us to help celebrate this moment with her. Up first, an actor and director who happens to be the daughter of that brilliant actor who played Garp, Robin Williams. Please help me in welcoming to the stage, Zelda Wood.
I'm both elated and terrified to be here today to honor the incomparable Glenn Close and her incredible career. I believe my first response to her asking me to speak today was, "Oh my God, why?" Out loud, before texting her back that I would happily do so. And I promise it's probably just as confusing for me to be up here as it is for any of you watching, but I cannot stress enough how much it's nearly impossible to say no if Glenn asks you to do something. And no, it's not out of fear of her taking your puppies. It's from the knowledge that you're about to embark on a sort of singular adventure only a mostly benevolent trickster god can bestow. You've all seen it in her eyes every time you've been lucky enough to catch her on screen or stage. That glint of mischief shining out from a seemingly endless well of feeling and knowing that's practically celestial. Perhaps that's why, in the theatrical debut in The World According to Garp, she wound up playing my dad's mother, despite only being 4 years older than him. Mind you, it wasn't hard to come off as more mature than my father. But it was nearly impossible to match his impetus and intensity. Nearly impossible for mere mortals, that is. Glenn blew right past it in her first movie out of the gate and got nominated for an Academy Award for doing so, and many since. And speaking of mothers, did you know she did Dangerous Liaison 6 weeks after giving birth to the force of nature that is Annie, sitting right over there? Because because up until I nervously did more research to write this speech, I sure as hell didn't. Like, God, Glenn, I suppose that helps explain the heaving 18th century bosoms. But I cannot imagine even thinking about a corset, let alone delivering that Herculean performance while wearing one as a new mom. Now that is a stunt Tom Cruise simply cannot do. But in any case, a lot of people think Garp is the only time Glenn and Dad shared the screen together, but a lot of people would be very wrong. Because Glenn, as she and Zeus are both wont to do, decided another transformation was in order. So she donned a big old beard and a hell of a tan, rendered herself nearly unrecognizable, and very much stole her scene as Gutless the Pirate in Hook. Screaming all the way to the boo box. But that's just who she is. If there's an unpredictable trick to be played, a wig to be worn, a delicious cackle or scream to be scrummed, Glenn will bring a character to life in a way that is anything but gutless, heartless, or spineless. So while I would never go so far as to call you my cinema grandmother, Glenn, I count myself lucky to consider you a dear friend, and I am truly honored to be one of the many here today excited to celebrate you as an icon.
As a relief, I was going to mention the eating Herculean 18th century bosoms, but I just decided to leave it to Zelda, and I think it worked better that way. Please join me in welcoming to introduce our next honoree, Glenn's longtime friend, the chairman of FX Networks, John Lambert.
Thank you, Ben. So I've got a story to tell you today. It's a story most people don't know, and like so many wonderful stories, it has a great leading character played by Glenn Close. So in 2004, The Shield was the first basic cable series to win a Golden Globe Emmy in any major category. The Shield had roared out of the gate on the back of Michael Chiklis's epic performance as Vic Mackey. And he was also the first to win an Emmy and Golden Globe as Best Actor in a basic cable series. And we were airing the show's third season, and while it still defined the cutting edge of excellence on television, its ratings were going down. I've been working at FX for less than a year.
Yeah.
No competing with that. I've been working at FX for less than a year, and the Shield's creator, Sean Wright, and I were beginning to talk about how many seasons we hope to make and what the most profound and impactful ending for the series could be. We realized, as Sean envisioned that ending, it would take 4 or 5 more seasons to complete. But with ratings declining, we weren't going to make it to season 6, let alone season 7 or 8. You see, men loved the show, it was brilliant, but what some of those men didn't love was a great writer's pesky insistence on showing the real downsides of corrupt policing and toxic masculinity. And we needed to shift the show's audience. And to do that, we needed a way to reach out to premium TV lovers who weren't aware that our little basic cable show was a truly great drama that could stand with the very best that HBO had to offer. What we needed was an acclaimed movie star to lend her prestige, her fans, and her talent to our cast. But in 2004, movie stars did not appear as series regulars on episodic TV. Not broadcast TV, not HBO, and for sure, not basic cable series. A movie star might do the occasional Emmy-winning TV movie, but not a season of TV, ever. I know it's hard for the younger folks here to believe that that was true. But if you don't believe me, you can Google or chat GPT it, and it'll come up. So what we needed was a miracle, an unexpected hero. And as so often happened, enter Glenn Close. Uniquely among movie stars of her stature, Glenn had always followed the best writing wherever it might lead her. Yes, she'd done Garp and The Big Chill and The Natural and Jagged Edge and Fatal Attraction and Dangerous Liaisons, but she'd also done TV movies like Sarah Played and Tall, and Serving in Silence, the Marguerite Kammermeyer story, for which she won an Emmy as Best Actress. She'd never done a TV series, but Glenn was a maverick, and that created the space for us to think, to dream, that we just might have a chance. So we called Glenn's agent, and he was a fan of The Shield, and he told Glenn that the show was genuinely great, and she agreed to meet. And Sean Ryan and I made the pilgrimage to Glenn's New York apartment, and I remember just how much I liked Glenn from the first moment I met her. She's an original, a presence. She's fierce and funny and brave. She made an indelible impression on me that day, just as she will today for the legion of fans in the concrete in front of Parameters. After we talked, Glenn agreed to think about it. And then she watched the first three seasons of The Shield with her family, I think, and let us know that she thought it was excellent. And she would join the show for all 13 episodes of season 4. And she was magnificent. Captain Monica Rawling, her character, added a blistering dose of weight and integrity as the station's new commander. She was nominated, of course, for an Emmy and a Golden Globe. And just as we'd hoped, she brought a new audience to the show. The ratings grew, and that gave us the momentum we needed to make 4 more seasons. And Sean got to tell the whole story. And though Michael Chiklis' Vic Mackey ultimately got the best of Captain Rawlings, that was not before her character set in motion the chain of events that ultimately led to his comeuppance at the end of the series, an ending still considered to be among the very best of all time. One of the very proudest moments of my career was Glenn telling me after she'd been on that set for about a month that her castmates on The Shield were as good as any ensemble she had ever been a part of on Broadway, on film. And after Glenn finished her season, it was an even prouder moment when her agent told me that she wasn't going to entertain any other offers to join TV series, but she might consider starring in one only if FX wanted to develop it for her. And that series became Damages, yet another brilliant TV show which was built specifically to showcase Glenn's singular talent as she took the lead role of Patty Hughes, for which she was the first actress in a basic cable series to ever win an Emmy she won twice. And so that is the story about how, just like Michael Chiklis before her, Glenn laid and became one of the cornerstones of the FX brand, a brand that has allowed us to support literally thousands of other artists to realize their ambitions and dreams over the last 2 decades. Glenn, you have always been a courageous leader as well as a great artist. I'm so proud of you. I'm so grateful that you chose FX as one of your creative homes. You've done so much for us and so much for this art form. It's true. Bravissimo, my dear friend. You truly belong in this great pantheon of legendary stars who have captivated audiences and brought the human condition to life. So come up here and take your well-earned place. Yeah.
Thank you, John. FX changed my life, and it brought me into an art form that is changing our world, continues to change our world. But it was an amazing experience, a life-changing experience. And Mr. Chickless is right here, and there he is, right there. My partner in crime. Okay, so, and thank you, my dear Zelly. Yeah, I loved your dad long before you were around. And here's Pip. You think Pip's sick? Okay. Yeah, he's my bodyguard, actually. But Zelly, thank you so much. I mean, coming from your generation, you know, those thoughts mean the world to me. And I adored your father. My mom said there's nothing more boring than actors talking about themselves. So I think kind of she was right. But, so hi, Mom. I hope you'll indulge me. So here we're surrounded by the hands and feet of icons. Icon. It's a word that's easy to throw about until it loses its meaning, all glittery and beyond the reach of mere mortals. But who were and are the people who planted their hands and feet here before today? One of them is sitting right there, Melissa McCarthy. Well, to me, they were and are human beings who had stories. They all had stories of overcoming, of persistence, frequently against the odds, who had to balance their public personas against who they really were. People with a dream, of course, but people with a crazy, unquenchable belief, the crazy engine of belief that they had something unique to give to the world, to help us understand what it means to be a human being on this little O, the earth. To be considered worthy of their company is the honor of my life. So we can't do it alone. Artists, those with creative souls, the John Landgrafs of life, who is I call us aliens. We are members of the alien nation. Because I think we have more antennae than maybe some other humans. And there are aliens and civilians, and we definitely speak different languages. I fear a world where the civilians completely disenfranchise us aliens. We aliens thrive and live on creative collaboration. It is our sustenance.
You can hear it.
And then there is what I call creative friction, the act of removing your ego in the fight for the best results. And so then there's the world according to Rory, my grandson, which is, uh-oh, or, oh, wow.
I understood.
I want to talk about a few of my mentors. My first mentor was a man called Howard Scammon, who was the chairman of the theater department of the College of William and Mary. I went there as a 22-year-old freshman. It's a long story. But I walked straight into the theater department and I auditioned for the first show, which was 12th Night. I was sitting in my bio lab and Dr. Scammon came in his Bermuda shorts and flip-flops to remind me that I had a callback. And he cast me as Olivia in 12th Night as my first year as a freshman. He understood my hunger and my desire to be an actress, but I also had a hunger and desire to learn other things. And that's why I went to a great liberal arts school. But, you know, But Dr. Scammon, he would stand in the wings and he would say, just do it. And I keep thinking maybe somebody from Nike happened to have a child and we've been married. He also said to me once in my senior year, when I was known kind of around the town for things I'd done in theater, he said to me one day, just remember, you're a big fish in a very little pond. It's right. So when I went to New York, I was very aware that I was a little fish in a very big pond. But the thing about Dr. Scammon was he came as long as he was physically able to every single show I did to support me, and then he would send me incredible notes.
Let's see that.
Mary Beth Hurt. Mary Beth Hurt. My beloved best friend of 52 years who died of dementia just last month. I understudied her on my first job. She was brilliant. I was so happy I never had to go on for her. Yeah. But I remember I would sit in the back row, green with envy, wanting to be up on stage, learning the lines when everyone else was learning them. But I remember Mary Beth, and the director was Harold Prince, one of the great, great directors ever in American theater and American musical theater. So Hal gave Mary Beth a direction. And she sat there on stage. She said, no, I don't think I'm going to do that. And everybody's asshole was just slammed shut. And Hal very calmly said, all right, Mary Beth, what would you like to do? And she went on to show him what she wanted to do. She got a tremendous laugh from all the crew and the rest of the cast that were in the theater. And Hal simply said, all right, Mary Beth, you do that. And the thing that taught me was, if you don't think something is right, don't just say, I don't think this is right. Think of an alternative. Think of 3 alternatives and give your director the choice. That's my darling, dearest Mary Beth. I would so many times through all these, I've been an actress now going on 53 years. So many times I've said when I was stuck in a scene, I said, what would Mary Beth do? And then it would come. George Roy Hill and Marion Dougherty. George Roy Hill put me in my first film, The World According to Garp, 46 years ago. Marion Dougherty was the first really casting director. Casting directors didn't really exist before Marion. Marion kind of invented the role. She told me that she knew what George wanted better than he did. So I was glad that she was in the audience with him when they came to see Barnum on Broadway, and from there, he put me into Garp. I remember going up to George the first day of shooting and saying, I've heard that it can be really hard for an actor to transition from theater to film. And George looked at me and said, uh-huh. But then he went on to direct me, to actually tell me a certain mannerisms I had that I still have, I'm still aware of. And I watched him with Robin Williams, who he had come off of Mork and he'd only done Popeye. So he was still, and I watched George. It was amazing. Work with Robin with such love and such purpose to make him into a movie star. Robert Redford. So I did The Natural with him, and I remember, first of all, I got to kiss him, but I also had to throw him out of my apartment. I was really pissed off about that. But
I remember standing on a set, near him, and he told me about his three passions in life: the culture of Native Americans, conservation of our natural resources, and Sundance Institute. And he invited me to be on the board of Sundance Institute, which I was on for 16 years, to help new voices emerge from around the world. And Franklin Lat's mom was the beginning of that as well, Michelle. Yeah. And when, the thing about, yes, I think John was right when it's the writing that counts. You go where the writing is. And early on, I had done GARP, and I got offered something in television called Something About Amelia, and it was about incest. I couldn't even say the word, but I read the script and it was brilliant. So I said, I've got to do this. And a lot of people said, you're going to ruin your movie career. And I said, but the English do it. Judi Dench, Helen Mirren, Vanessa Redgrave, they all do it. So why don't we? So it's been, how good is the writing, and the English do it. And I want to say from the bottom of my heart how much it means to me to have all these people here witnessing, and my beautiful Rory. Everyone, CAA, the giants of CAA, who have been with me for how many years? Over 25, 20, yeah, 30 years. Francis Lawrence, who I just worked on Hunger Games with. What a magnificent, I could not get over you, Francis, because you had armies. You had 40 horses and chariots, and I don't know how many actors. My first day on set, there were 1,000 people there. And Francis was always calm and gracious and phenomenal. And that was a wonderful, wonderful experience. Nina Jacobson, who I first met doing 102 Dalmatians, who is a magnificent producer, and who is also now doing Au Spare. Bonnie, Curtis, Julie, Lynn, who some of the great producers, creative producers in the business. We did Albert Mobs together, which was a great, great, great experience. And Michael and Michelle, everyone here. Connor Hines, who went to college with Annie, they're best friends. And Connor just wrote the love story, the JFK Jr. Bravo. And my darling Christian, who has made such a difference in my life. And my creative people, my Curtis, who is a wig genius. Wigs matter. It's all about hair. It is, isn't it? It's all about hair. Anyway, every single one of you, if I haven't picked you out, I am absolutely childhood, nursery school friend of Annie's? Alida. Anyway, I don't want to say any more time. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled that you're all here sharing this moment with me. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You might think about that I need to do it and
Here enough.
me.
Should I eat then we need to all A's be up
There. That's that too. So I cooked it.
sorry didn't
Late.
you need another salad sauce and little side for chicken.
Got that.
Good what? What the
Have you ever tried white cook? You can work my bag.
town?
Dad comes in. Take the swast. Or inside down. Just let's say you're right now. Go team. You're right now. Okay.
Still, I guess.
Chicken.
Out. Let's talk about the she's not the clicks clashed.
Yeah.
Since
Eight. So ground. Good that. But we're gonna make it over 7 such gravity.
You got it. You're not dead. Railway. I listen. You would do it. Red step was there. Could be steep them.
All right, you need to go ahead and lift them up now.
You want to start any of this or what? Hey. Okay, I'm
But say that everything's not the kind of my own way that we're going to do that. But yes, and I want to come.
you more.
To the with a little party.
There I don't need to go face. Everyone have it.
It's ready to give them break from the out. We're going to know what this side to do. So, as my pressure on my cable, RSAD. We'll go to Manipus building. The natural one to move up the tension. Send what the word. Okay, very effective. Yep, you're trained. You should have read that. All right, and then the RT. I want to go. Something like.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna walk away, and you're gonna stand there. I'll let you know what the snap back. And then I'm back to life.
Right here. Very good.
All right, but the
Thread, like.
well,
My way. Let's wait.
well, the upgrade.
After stir it. That's it. You take. I think I.
Something time.
During the tactic.
How? Methods. Dog fence. Yeah, get me there. To you Australia.
I'm really preaching tongue, so no.
Some right up, you need to like positive and
You do one my son, please be a no. You see, I'm looking at the black. You know,
we should say.
but
And go to others in like that city house. Tim, that's the big. Where there you go. So much stuff to speak of. So I sort of they do it right. You know, what way the kind of city comes today. That's why you think that I have one more than the investors. Now it's in the kid. I'm going to the best of that. Okay, the other life is 2 minutes on out.
like, how did that
Try people do much right there. So I was with the cards about now, right?
and it's still 7 so the thing. Just era. Look over.
Because you look at that.
And that one,
See,
check this about you. They you're on that.
don't do this stuff.
Yes,
But the
not great.
hey, that and me goes to that if wild water,
Right, you can see good.
congratulations.
Not
This is Yeah, so that was the potatoes. But yeah, that first one we got on the street. Not the time it's good option. But what is you know all the that was how it's solid bats are not. I yeah. And with the thing it's quite strange to an I couldn't see different thing you like that yeah but that's I tires were you very for 3 years it's brand that the house like a girl's got these tough as the house creators you know I do a lot of the flat rear by day because that was like that it's like stuff you do please send me there's just so much stuff I'll tell that I like this one. Each out. So I would have missed the ground current. Biggest landscape. Ridiculous. Part of that. So I mean, it's a regular man. Sure. Good job. Yep. Need a pretty good. I'll sit. Got it. What is it? Where you think? Going to the bay like times. Well, man, what's going to couldn't be good to you. Yes, give it that serious. Good more. Tell you what. Material. I mean, and into that's it. And what and that music thing I just get about this to see what yeah he really says I spent with him tired he's definitely now we should on the same dragon I think they do why the spider I'm yeah I'm gonna put it in we all I'm sure everyone's in the trip Italy, I'm going to use the word about needed. The way to sit back about them at time. That's a yes, yeah. It's a cool thing. That's me. Well, that was yeah. Well, that maybe but I'm checking out. You say, so many feel this going to be. I guess that's like a lot like. What? So, do they? And Nestos. I know you ain't quick. That you got after that was includes disease so this it's well the that was a part then pick up the hell I just I need to make it everything that was the card with the right something oh it's wrong those stuff God you can crowd that so it's face back as little as packing thing and this Brian says wait I don't go because it was I did I had one so right there God we had Earth Road hey on your back it's still yeah real like cases even if I see you being like this that's all Larry all this the market plan great just because it just me water. And talking. So it's just the lightest member your strand is against the literature. It that nigga. Saving out on the book. The travel like put it regarding off the right bumper on the lecture. Yeah, it. It's on. I thought I have to spike down. I know. I look at cheese. Yeah. Tell me. I have a beer left. That's a lot. You was a yeah, but I'm like myself. No, she needed. Very funny. That it's cute. Yeah, but well, listen to. What's up? His source. What's the best you drink? Every two. Oh, so good. Go. Please. But take back. What's the joke? Oh, this do we don't bring segments. Come on. Not the land. I audio that. I got to. I do that. I would support. I say yourself and so guys. I think that's it. You're good. The doctor. Yeah, you're. So I use category in the all you can out like with the what. Simply must watch the like what to say. Let me. Yeah, I say. That's that. Rather all and sing about it. This is going to be a trade in always. Not out of the can't and it all kind of something to say that's me. The parent is there and stuff. The lawyer is strong. Nice to see. So I have worked the people. I have the bump off the feet. I'll cut them. Not a lot. And be back. Yeah, that's all. And we can live. Of course, you realize there are right things you can do. That's right. Because they can look out to bring the effort in. So, they can set inside. I know you but something here. Think that you are very saturated meeting. And then you realize it's I'm close. Yeah, so. That's not a hard issue. You're scratching, you can get your money on it. Taking it. Let me tune me out then here. Oh my god, no! Because I never have it studying to it's got about Krishna culture. Curious to the man wants one of the citizens. And one time is give a that is about that. And damn it. It's very densely there. Okay, what? Sure. That's your terrible. That's over. On black hole, yes. They're not Walmart. We have all it's also very nice that times. By the right plane. Things classic game. I don't. What am I gonna say? Just you first. And what's that? You don't have a big live and somebody. What's that? But a day clear. I did not cost. I have a dread throughout and farther spent. It would house. It it's every night. I don't use with that. Yeah, you're done. Anything up. Yep. So all Thursday and work like take every shot for my opening or anything. I know they will. It'll be good for targeting pickings. You have to. Hey, there's time to actually ask why they get those without them. I mean, short move. I can read tires here. Now, there's our baby sitting what happened? It's supposed to be wise. It's a very nice evening. Yeah, so that you laughed okay all the time, but you felt like love. I said, the right place, and it's very quiet. So, the part I got really hey, you know, then when you get the opportunity to right. And then, yeah, it was like, you could talk twice. I was like, I said to that. I do. This. Harry's like, I can't really spend on sound here. But still, I put him down, figuring out the business. The third kind of entry. And you read the song of the manufacturer. I suppose that was so that can that's not a big spell. What's right? You just wanted something and fall back to us. It's another. Everybody was clear. Yeah, it's fair enough. This I'd say this is that's I know it's rubbish. Yeah. But I think so. All around. You're right. Can we yourself when the red look to the far right? I know. It's good. It looks at I am caught. There's something that is reaction. I do it. Yeah, he wants that good night. And it's just and he will have nothing to that. Right, West Wing. And we give up. It's a smart teacher to tell you this. I listen to things big. I used to school. I go. Didn't really make these all of that on fish talk. Don't worry about. It's my wonderful manager, Chrissy, down in today. Yeah. Okay. So, what? the girl will leave everyone so much with you in the short because that. So soon you can go out things where I'll get it. The father have. And then we'll jump behind the was. Don't just for the man. Oh, what? I do it. Mercy.